You're tuned into an original podcast by Officially Live. Hey, welcome to the Live Report. I'm your host, Jordan Live, and thank you for joining me. We made it through the first episode, you guys. I'm talking about the very first episode. Everybody knows when you're starting new business ventures or, a new job or, just anything new, it's always tough the first time. It's always tough the first time. And that's how I was with starting the podcast. I thought the podcast was a good idea months ago, almost over a year ago when I had the idea initially. And then when the date finally came for me to launch the podcast, I was like, oh my God, should I still do this? Is this going to be received well? Will I even care to do it after a amount of time? Will the people even care to receive it? And I just pressed publish and boom, it was out into the universe and there was no turning back. And I just have to say that I appreciate all the love and the support that you guys have shown me in the show thus far. We have so much further to go, but just, thus far, I've been going through some of the comments that you guys have left me and, reading ratings on some of the streaming sites. Thank you guys so much for those and those 5-star ratings and, just incredible comments and just some of the feedback from my mentors and friends and just family or, people, messages that I got from people that I did not know that were new followers were incredible as well. And it just was like the biggest hug. I can't even say it. I'm so overwhelmed. It was like the biggest hug you could have ever received from just taking a shot on yourself, taking a chance on yourself and starting something new. It was overwhelming, but a good overwhelming because it's not as though that I needed validation, but I think for anybody, it's always great that somebody sees you, somebody hears you, and show some love. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants and needs that sometimes. So I appreciate you guys for that. On today's episode, this episode is all about my birthday because tomorrow my birthday. It's my birthday tomorrow. And so I want to make this episode fun. I just want to talk about some things that's been going on in entertainment that has really been exciting me, that has been lighting my fire. And I want to share it with you guys and to see if you are equally as excited as I am. So let's get into today's report. Okay, so the last episode, since I started off rapping and rhyming like I was the Fresh Prince, I thought it'd be appropriate to actually talk about the Fresh Prince first this episode. So let's talk about the one and only Will Smith and his brand new film coming out called King Richard. I had the pleasure of going to see King Richard almost a month ago, and it was absolutely incredible. I will have to say that from beginning to end, I love this film. And probably within maybe the first 10 minutes, I was getting choked up. I was getting choked up in the very first 10 minutes of this film. I was like, damn, are they trying to make me cry already? This is like the first 10 minutes. But it was so moving and just so powerful that there's no way that Will does not walk away with the Oscar for this film. His performance was like nothing I've ever seen from him. And he's had some, incredible roles. He's played some incredible people and some incredible characters that, it's like, how do you top Men in Black? How do you top The Pursuit of Happiness. How do you top those films? How do you do that? And this film is kind of like the master class of what Will Smith can do as an actor. When you have thought you saw it all from Will, he shows you like, no. Watch me now. Check this out now. I got a little more for you. You thought you had me. You thought you knew me. But no, check this out. So, I think Will Smith will definitely get his Oscar from this film, his very first Oscar, because he doesn't have an Oscar, and which is crazy to think about. Like, oh my gosh, The Fresh Prince, Men in Black, Bad Boys, I, Robot, all those incredible films. I Am Legend. Will Smith does not have an Oscar. Nope. Does not have an Oscar. He was nominated 2 times. He was nominated in 2002 for Ali, but he lost against Denzel Washington in Training Day. And then in 2007, he was nominated for The Pursuit of Happiness, but lost to Forrest Whitaker in The Last King of Scotland. So it's just like, So when you think about it like that, it's like, okay, he was nominated. How come he didn't win? He should have won. But then when you look at it in perspective like that, it's like, oh, okay, he lost against Training Day. Well, shoot. Hey, that's Denzel in Training Day. Ain't nobody was going to beat Denzel Training Day. I'm sorry. Have y'all seen Training Day? Training Day is that movie. Last King of Scotland? Absolutely not. You was not beating Forrest Whitaker with The Last King of Scotland. And I love The Pursuit of Happiness too, but those were two tough categories. So, I can see it's like, oh, when you put them in perspective like that, okay, now I see it. But still, Will Smith is a more than acclaimed and deserving actor. And I think finally he will get his just due with King Richard, because it was phenomenal from beginning to end. And, I didn't really know that much about the Williams, the Williams father. I just didn't. Of course, we knew about Serena Williams, mega athlete, arguably the queen of tennis, probably the greatest athlete of all time. And then her sister, Venus Williams, who paved the way for the Williams empire and just world domination in tennis and just athletics overall. So we knew a little bit about all of that. But as far, for me at least, maybe I was ignorant to that. I just didn't know the full story, and I definitely didn't know the full story and the influence of her father. And I think this film, let's just get into a little bit of a synopsis of the film. It's based on the true story that will inspire the world. King Richard follows the journey of an undeterred father, instrumental in raising 2 of the most extraordinarily gifted athletes of all time, Venus and Serena Williams. Incredible film, as I already stated. I think this film will give people an inside look as to how these incredible athletes, arguably the greatest athletes of all time, became who they became because of whom and whose they were. Their father was, in a way, you could compare him to maybe a Joseph Jackson without the beatings, or, a Matthew Knowles, or I forgot Tiger Woods' father, but Mr. Woods. You can compare him to those parents who had a vision for their child and was, no holds barred and took no for an answer and made sure that they equipped their children with the tools that they needed and the intelligence that they needed and just the drive and passion that they needed to fulfill the prophecy, in a way, if you will, that they had for their kids. And, whatever they instilled in them, it came to fruition. They became mega superstars, mega athletes. the greatest athletes of all time. So I think that it just shows how much I think ultimately this film, what it showed for me, it showed probably the best story on screen that I've ever seen about a black family. I think it gave such an amazing view on a black family in America trying to survive and get their children and just ultimately their family in a better situation, because they were in Compton, but they didn't just, it wasn't enough that they stayed in Compton. They knew that they wanted better for themselves. Richard Williams knew that he wanted better for his family. He didn't just want his family to stay in Compton forever. And he had a vision for his girls. And their mother had a vision for her girls. And I think that's one thing I have to applaud Aunjanue Ellis. Aunjanue Ellis has been slaying these roles left and right. I'm talking about in Lovecraft Country. I'm talking about in When They See Us. Hey, hell, I'm talking about all the way from when I first initially saw Aunjanue Ellis. And I think that was back in the day in Undercover Brother. Undercover Brother, she played like the real sexy, boss type of side chick character to Eddie Griffin's character in Undercover Brother. Look it up. Bad movie. But also in her performance, which I thought she was snubbed from real acknowledgement, even though, us in the black community acknowledged it, but I thought that mainstream media should have gave her more acclaim for it and praise for it, was her role as the Clark sisters' mother, Maddie Moss Clark. Maddie Moss Clark, she played the hell out of Maddie Moss Clark in the Clark sisters biopic on Lifetime. Incredible performance. So Aunjanue Ellis was and is phenomenal in King Richard. She was a mother, and she let it be known that she was a mother. And those were her girls just as much as they were Richard Williams's girls. And I think at some point in the film, a lot of points in the film, he was losing. He kept forgetting that you're not the only parent here. I'm those kids' parents just as much as you are a parent. And I help them out as much with, their schoolwork and, tennis just as much as you do. And don't you forget it. And she had no problem with reminding him when need be that I'm here and I'm supporting them and I'm supporting you just as much as the next person. So don't count me out. So bravo to Aunjanue Ellis. And I say just bravo to the entire cast, because the girls did all the girls did phenomenal. And I think the one point too is that the young lady that played Serena needs to keep her eye on her and let her grow up and, get 18, 21 or whatever, may have you old enough so that she can play Serena in a film, because she looked just like young Serena. I was like, oh my God, is this her for real? Like that really looked like Serena. The casting was phenomenal. I enjoyed it. I know they gave, initially when they first announced the movie, they gave Will a lot of flack because, he's not the complexion of Richard Williams. Richard Williams, I believe the Williams family is kind of, they have like Jamaican descent. I think he was a Jamaican man, definitely island descent for sure. I don't want to get it wrong, but the biggest thing was about the complexion. And they didn't feel like, Will Smith wasn't the right complexion, blah, blah, blah. I get that. That's a good argument, I guess, If you're playing somebody, you want them to kind of look like them visually as well. But let's not get it mistaken here. Let's not, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Angela Bassett, and that's the Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett didn't look nothing like Tina Turner, but she embodied Tina Turner, okay? Angela Bassett ain't from no Nutbush, Tennessee. But when she was rolling on that river, you would have you would have thought she was from Nutbush. Okay? She didn't look nothing like Tina, but she embodied Tina.
Are you ready to be wowed? Think about this. A 10-year-old CEO that designs her own fitness wear and dance apparel. Check out www.elephantfitness.com. We are here to serve you. We are here to provide flashy, yet comfortable and cute fitness wear and dance wear for your children and for the adults in your family. We hope that you'll check out our website. Again, that site is www.elephantfitness.com. You can also find us on social media on Instagram at elephant_2020.
You know, the same can be said about Denzel playing Muhammad Ali. He wasn't, light skinned like that, looking like Muhammad Ali with red hair, but he embodied Malcolm X, excuse me. He didn't look like Malcolm X, but he embodied him so much that you thought you were looking at Malcolm X when you were looking at the screen. And, it just happens that way sometimes in films. It's like you can't get it all the way right. But if an actor does their job the way they're supposed to, when you're looking at them on that screen, you won't see that actor. You'll see the character that they're portraying. And that's the job of a good actor. So I think that when people see this performance by Will, they'll get just that. They'll get a great performance, and you'll see how well he portrays King Richard. And Serena and Venus, they were producers on the film. They co-signed it. They had a family member sit on set to, basically kind of like counsel every day. I forgot which sister exactly it was that sat on set every day, kind of like the family, consultant, to make sure they were doing certain things right. So the family vouched this film. They vouched for Will Smith. They were on board for it. So I think if the family was okay with it, everybody else should fall in line and be okay with it as well. Because at the end of the day, no matter how you feel about Will Smith portraying King Richard, that's their father. And if they're good with it, you should be good with it too. So bravo to them. King Richard, I'm so excited for this film. Right now, it has a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, so that's pretty good. We didn't get the audience rating just yet, but I have no doubt that it will be incredible as well. It will be really good. It was another thing I wondered. I think overall, overall the movie, one thing that I got from the movie was a little bit more backstory, or just a little bit more knowledge about Venus, because I knew who Venus Williams was. I knew her to be, just an amazing tennis player, just as great as her sister. But I think it will show audiences that she was the trailblazer for the Williams sisters, because she was the oldest. So she had to go through a lot of doors first before Serena followed behind her and knocked it out the park. So I think that it really gave Venus, her flowers as well, because a lot of people always hype up Serena, rightfully so. She's earned that acclaim, but forget about Venus in a lot of these conversations that, like, no, she was the first to do these things. She kicked down a lot of doors for women athletes, Black female athletes, athletes of color, to come behind her. And it was an eye-opening experience to get a little bit more background and an inside look at just how far and how influential Venus Williams was, for tennis, for her family, and just for the world. So that was one of my eye-opening experiences while watching King Richard. But one of my favorite parts, one of my absolute favorite parts, y'all, was the ending. The ending was so good, but it wasn't good because it was ending. It was so good because we got to hear Beyonce's new song, Be Alive. Oh my gosh. I can't play it. Y'all already know how Parkwood, Beyonce, and all of them, they'll snatch it down. They'll snatch it down, and y'all ain't coming. Y'all ain't getting me and my coins. Y'all ain't pulling down my podcast. This is only episode 2. But I love Be Alive. I think Beyonce definitely understood the assignment with this song. It's an original song by her and another gentleman. And I think that it is going to do great at the Oscars. Looking at some of the, the different Oscar contenders lists right now, she seems to be number one. She seems to be number one on all the Oscar contenders lists for Best Original Song. Her won Best Original Song last year for Fight For You from Judas and the Black Messiah. So I don't know. Based on Oscar history and stuff like that, I don't know if they're going to give it to 2 black women back to back like that. I don't know. It would be great if they did, because Be Alive is an incredible song. And some people will be like, this is probably Beyonce's only shot at ever getting the Oscar because she probably won't get it from a film. I ain't going to think like that. Anything is possible. Beyonce is more than deserving, even though, yes, her singing is way better than her acting at times. But it ain't that bad that people try to make it out to be. But nonetheless, I think that Beyonce is in a perfect position to be in the running to get Best Original Song. But the thing is, here's the caveat. She'll be up against potentially, none of the Oscar lists have come out yet, of course, because the Oscars usually come out in February. They're saying that Billie Eilish is on track to be nominated and maybe in, top billing as well for Best Original Song, because she just won Best Original Song at the Hollywood Music and Media Awards for her song that I think's in 007. I forgot the name of the song. I think it's called No Time to Die. No Time to Die by Billie Eilish. I believe it's in the 007 movie. So she just won an award for that. So maybe Beyonce's competition at the Oscars is between Billie Eilish. I know Ariana Grande is supposed to be having the song out too for Best Original Song. Not sure what movie that's from either, but the Oscars is looking up. It's looking pretty interesting, I must say, for music, for film, for just, the Oscars is looking pretty promising for this upcoming year. So I'm excited about it. But speaking of more music, we got to get into Adele. Oh my gosh. Hello from the outside. Adele. I know I'm not the only one that's super excited that Adele is finally back and making brand new music. Her latest album, titled 30, follows in the numeric pattern of some of her previous albums, titled 19, 21, and 25. This latest album will be dropping on November the 19th, which is my birthday. So it's like the ultimate birthday gift for me right now. Her track list looks amazing. I know her songs are going to be out of this world, because she let us know that she went through a devastating divorce, and the album is about to be all about the divorce. So that is going to be a lot of heart-wrenching, sad, grab your Kleenex type of ballads. So we got to get ready. We got to get prepared. Okay. I'm going to have to go to Costco or Sam's Club and get my Kleenex in bulk, because it's about to give that type of, about to get that type of mood because of Adele. And her husband, and her ex-husband, who shall not be named because he's not important here. But, it's like, oh, wow. Are we ready for this? I'm ready. I think I'm ready, but are we ready for these songs? I'm ready for them. I'm ready. Just give me a day or two to process, and then I can give y'all a review next episode for real about what's my favorite track so far. And you let me know what some of your favorite tracks too. But I'm excited for Adele. I'm excited for this next chapter for her. It has to be difficult to really just be so transparent and lay your feelings and your heart and just all your emotions out for the world to see and hear. But to do that in song is like one of the most romantic but prolific ways that you can do that. You can put your heart into a song in a way that you can't really vocalize just regularly. Sometimes just communicating and just, getting your emotions out through song or dance helps you emote how you feel a lot better than just talking to somebody in a conversation or, in a regular conversation. So I hope this was therapeutic for her, because we know she looks amazing, even though she looked beautiful before, but she looks even more incredible now. She looks, just her glow, the glow about Adele now, it's like you can tell she's in a better place. And that's what we want for everybody. I want everybody to be in a better place. So plus, maybe what has contributed to that is that she has a new man too. They say the best way to get over an old man is to get under a new one. So obviously Adele got that tip. Oh my gosh, man. I cannot believe I'm literally in the last hours of year 25 for me. The year went by fast. Not fast enough, but it went by pretty fast. If you know what I mean. I learned a lot in year 25. It was like a roller coaster ride, some highs and some lows. We have to take the good with the bad. And I did. I took a lot of the bad with the good. But one thing about it, in this thing called life, you learn a lot along the way. At least I did. I learned a lot about the world that we live in, this crazy world. And I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about what I can endure and what is my breaking point. I've learned how to ask for help if I need it. And that's so hard for me to do because I'm a Scorpio and I don't like to ask for help for nothing. Okay. I would go through hell and high water before I ask for somebody's help. But, I'm learning to speak up and ask for that or seek help when I need it. And just learning to not really care about the outside noise and just listening to that voice deep down inside of me that I always had and I always knew to be inside of me. And, maybe that's God, maybe that's just, or intuition or, whatever the case, but just always listening to that voice deep down inside of you that, keeps telling you to keep going. You got it, baby. And you can do it. Listening to that voice and not really the outside noise, because the outside noise will cloud your judgment. It will lead you off track. And, we don't need that. We don't have time for that. And, also too, just being okay with people not being okay with you. I think I had reached a point that, I was just tired of trying to please people, or tired of just, not living my life for me and just more so caring about what everybody else had to say about something. And I was just like, that's just not how we're going to do this no more. We're not going to do that no more. I'm not living like this. I'm not living for everybody else, because when they go home or whatever, they're not living for me. They're living for them. So I'm going to live for me. And that's what we're going to do, because, I don't want to get to the end of the road, whatever that looks like, and I'm telling somebody else's story the way they want me to tell it. No, I'm going to tell my story how I want to tell it. I'm going to write my story the way I want to write it. Whether I'm using a red pen or a blue pen or, a fountain pen, whatever the case, I'm going to write my story and write my life out how I want to do it. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, you don't. And I just encourage everybody else to do that as well. That's because you can only be the best you. You can't be the best nobody else. And so that's just one thing that the ultimate thing I should say that I've learned in 25 is that be you. No one else can be you. That's what's unique for you. And the moment you try to be anything other than that is when you fail. And I will not allow that to be my failure at all. And you shouldn't allow that to be your failure either. So on this birthday, I pray and wish that each and every one of you who hears the sound of my voice goes out and lives the life that you have always dreamed, because you deserve it. And I do too. And that concludes today's report. Until next time, live live, everybody.